Good evening, Video Land. We are back. We've got pictures up tonight, so anybody tuning in, there's going to be a lot of pictures up rather than live videos. We have problems all over the place. We have internets that aren't cooperating. We've got illnesses. We've got all kinds of things. So for a little while, there's going to be all pictures up, and later on we'll bring in at least some of us. As things move along a little bit. We've got a few changes and introductions tonight, so there'll be a lot of things going on. Hey team, how's your week been?
Uneventful.
I don't know if that's sad or good.
Meh.
I have been working like a dog.
This moment was chosen to happen as I stuck a Three Musketeer in my mouth. I'm so sorry.
You should know I always throw it to you guys at the beginning. You always have to talk with your mouth full.
I thought I had seconds to spare, and it was like, nope, it's happening now. Like, shoot faster.
Okay, let's just analyze that statement for just a second. You thought you had seconds to spare, and you chose to eat a Three Musketeers,
That's
gooey, chocolatey candy bar.
Yes, a very chewy candy bar. That takes minutes, not seconds.
Hidden behind the screen as I eyebrow waggle. You've never seen me eat a Cadbury Easter egg, have you?
Don't make candy sexual, Lynn.
I'm not trying to.
Oh my god.
I'm not trying to, but if that's how you want to take it, that's your prerogative.
PG-14. Anyway,
I'm just trying to eat.
Anyway, we have quite a crew going on tonight. They are in Trollskull Manor. They've only got a couple of days. Let me officially check the game calendar here and make sure I know exactly. Today, you are waking up at the start of a new day. It is the 28th of Lent. There are 30 days in every month in D&D. It is the 28th of Lent. You can already, as some of you may already be up, but those of you who are waking up can already hear somebody pounding on the front porch. Probably Tully is out working already. He seems to be kind of throwing himself into what's going on. You have, counting to all of today, because this is just the morning, you have 1, 2, 3 days before Harvest Festival opens on the first of what's called Harvest Tide. Harvest Tide is not truly a month. Harvest Tide is a 5-day period of time that comes between the change of the seasons. Pardon if you hear growling behind me. We have decided it's the dogs in the alley at Trollskull Alley, but I have 2 small dogs that have decided they are very playful tonight and they're chasing each other around the room. So, pardon the sound.
I do have to say this though. It certainly doesn't sound like 2 small dogs. It sounds like people growling at each other for me.
It's 2 small dogs. They're
okay.
Little small Havanese dogs, and they are chasing each other up and down. Anyway, you have fuzzies. You have 3 days of work before Harvest Festival takes up at the beginning of Harvest Tide. And so the room for getting your monies and getting things in place is narrowing. It is getting very tight on the budget and what you're doing. I also have developed, as they've been seeing during the week, a profit and loss spreadsheet so that I can start putting up all these things that they're doing. As it stands right now, you are lacking a couple of actual waiter, waitress types, perhaps. Just depends on what you decide to do with that. Those are open jobs at the moment. Pretty much all your other jobs are taken care of. At the moment, all you have paid for on repairs is $100 between what Nockree paid Tully and a $50, I said dollar, I mean gold,
We get you.
And a 50 gold throw-in that Tully did just because he seemed to like you guys and wanted to help you out. So he was doing a lot of extra work for his $50. So you basically got double your money's worth. And he's finishing up this morning, nailing a... Oh, come on, dogs.
Epiphany's having breakfast out back.
Yes.
Bell's just throwing
Remember,
in the fish heads and
Epiphany,
sees what
chew your
happens.
food.
We
Chew
will-
your food.
We will devour however we please.
And that's the sound of his growling stomach. So you have outstanding...
Stomachs.
Yeah. So you have outstanding from your basic $1,500 cost that's been estimated at, which will go up or down depending on circumstances. You still got about $1,400, 1,400 gold dragons, as they're called, that you need to get in the pot. Now, I need to look at something here related to monies that you guys have collected. So far for quests, slide over, there we go. Let's see, Cassius has gotten 50 from his basic quest and 75 from the initial reward from Saloon. Did Relian and Epiphany eventually get their reward? Or do you need to play that out?
Let's just say we got it.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I'm okay with either.
Probably be a little faster if we say that they kind of went in late or very early.
It would probably have been very awkward and uncomfortable, and we can't guarantee that people weren't
Offended.
offended and more suspicious afterwards. We did. That was the problem.
Okay. Sorry, quick interject. Someone says they weren't added to the call, so if there's any weird pinging noises, it's because I'm adding them to the call.
Okay, yeah, good. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to...
Yeah, that,
Yeah, I just
and
wanted
we
to give the heads
needed
up.
it. We needed it added for good anyway, so I'm glad they got added. So thank you very much, because I didn't have time to do it.
No worries. They
And
just messaged, so...
yep, we're up. We're fine. Everything's good. We're fine. We're good. How are you? So Cashin has 50 and 75. I don't know if he spent anything out of that. I'll get to that in a moment. Nokri has taken a 300 gold loan, and she has the 75.
I've got the 75, the 300 loan from family, and then, let's see, I'm adding this up all on my
You
money
haven't
thing.
done any quests, right?
Not distinctly outside of taking part in the capture the assassin flag.
Nokri's been a lazy busy.
That's a whole different deal. That will
Yeah,
involve the trial and so forth. Your 75, of course, initial arrest fee, the 300 that was split 4 ways, is on that. So I need to make sure I have that. All right. So Nokri just has the 300 and the 75. So we got that.
I still have my own personal money that I started with. Still, I still have like 100 something.
Yeah, I don't count that. I'm counting them from outside sources so that I know what's going on here and where they came from. Relian and Epiphany each had the 75 on capturing Saloon.
Yeah.
And Relian and Epiphany should have... wait a minute.
I believe we would have gotten, I think it was like 50 or something.
Yeah, you would have gotten 50 on Saloon from, so that's 75 plus 50 on Saloon so far.
We also have the 32 in the pot right now for advertisement.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a moment. I'm trying to get these corrected here so I know what we've got, and then I'm going to see where these monies are going, because you have quite a bit of money floating around, but I need to know what's going to be done with it, is why I'm trying to get these corrected. And of course the Google Docs doesn't work the same as everything else. Thank you. All right. Related to the entire saloon issue, between the payment for the quest itself and the reward money, Relian and Epiphany each have 125. So that's it. Shepherd, the Shepherd got 50 on the horse.
Yes.
So he's got 50.
And I did give it all to Nakri.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's part of the total I have for the repairs.
all right.
Well, yeah, and with what I had originally, because I think I had 10 gold left originally,
That's
so
why
I
I
should
was
get at
going
135.
50 for horse on Knockbrace, because you gave it to him. Okay, so let me put that over there.
Yeah. Because as of last session, I know there's a 32 gold pot. Shepard popped in about 5 gold for publicity, 50 gold for repairs.
Don't get
Sorry.
don't get into the details of that quite yet. I'm just trying to get
Alright.
what we've got available, and then I'll see. This is just money available, and then I will take the entire expenses and put it against it. All right. So basically, you've got this $1,400 remaining. 50 of which has been spent. Was that out of your private money or out of your loan money, Nakri?
That was personal money. I had spent that initially from out of
so
my
you still got the
starting.
300. All right, so everybody think about the expenses that you've got out and the monies that you've got available now that you haven't spent on advertising, because yes, we've got quite a bit spent on advertising, which will come to play when we do the roll, which will be done on opening day, after you have had your first opening day. So what do you want to take of your monies to purchase furniture? Basically, in fact, I can take the broken furniture off the screen and assume that mending has slowly been working on it, and you've got probably 2/3 of the furniture that you need to open. You've got to buy a little bit more. That's the furniture costs that are outstanding. You've got pretty much have the front porch damage completed. You still got to replace some dishes, fix the kitchen, handle the cellar, and however you're going to do on that depends on how much you need and whether you need brewing equipment. You've got to do a little bit of repair on the stable, a little bit more facade damage that hasn't been paid for, and the entire exterior still needs about 250. That's not the facing part that people come in on, it's the around the building and so forth, exterior. Then we start going to the ground floor. The ground floor inside is in pretty good shape. There's a few loose boards that squeak and look like they're not well supported, etc. So there's only about 50 that's needed on the building on the ground floor. Most of the repairs for the building starts on the upstairs, second floor and above, that you need more repair for that. And of course, as I said, a little bit of tavern furniture, only 40 gold worth, and a lot of furniture upstairs, which can wait.
I need to bring up a spreadsheet. I'm so getting lost.
Yeah, and what I can eventually do once I have this kind of situated is I'll give you all access to this Google Docs, and that will help. But I can't do that in the middle of the street. All right.
From the sounds of it, just so I have everything sorted out, thanks to Tully and Epi's on-again, off-again mending, the entrance and the furniture on the ground level seems to be in good shape right now.
Correct.
But we still need to expend about 50 gold to continue the repairs on the ground level. Would that be including the kitchen, or?
No, the tavern area I've separated. It needs 50 gold. The kitchen needs 40, and you need furniture. Tavern furniture. I've got here somewhere. Okay, right now I don't see where I've got. Oh, tavern furniture is another 40. So 90 for the tavern area plus 40 for the kitchen damage.
So altogether 130 to get the ground level operational.
Correct.
And then we have to, again, go through all the licenses and the food and drink. Okay, we need to go working.
All right, so where do each of you want to start tonight, considering the various issues that you've got?
Well, first, Cashin wants to check the businesses around and see if they have any work. But the first one he wants to go to is the Tiger's Eye and get that list.
Very good. Get that up. All right, so Cashin will head out for Victor Trench's private eye place. And what will Nakri be doing?
No, this is New Morning, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna go start meeting my new friends.
By that, which one do you mean? If it's the message,
nobles.
The what?
I figured I'd start heading to go introduce myself to the nobles.
Okay,
Or at least find out what time I should come back.
You had already gotten your formal listing for that you were in the city, so that they knew you were there. Let's delay your meeting until a little bit more, because I sent you a Discord thing that will relate to that.
Okay.
So,
then if we're delaying that for now, I'm okay. So we said it was how much? The 130 to fix all the bottom floor, and that's including the furniture, or not including the furniture?
Including the furniture. Everything on the bottom floor, kitchen, tavern, and furniture, is 130. That does not count pans, but so if you want to figure in pans, that's another small amount. It was another 30, so 160 including pans. And another 20, 180 including dishes, pans, repairs, furniture, kitchen, the whole 9 yards. Everything is 190.
So that'll be 60 for the for dishes and stuff.
Dishes itself is just 20. So if you want to go out,
like dishes plus kitchen stuff is like 60 total, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually spreadsheeting this out to see how much we've got incoming versus how much we've got outgoing.
Pans and dishes, because you have some of each, is only a total of 50. 20 plus 30.
Okay. So that's reduced down to that. Okay, so but floor plus furniture would be 130. Okay. Yeah, so as of right now, we have enough to cover all that?
Yeah, you can pretty well get the ground floor done if you discount the exterior around the sides and back. So do you want to put in enough money to cover the entire downstairs? Or how do you want to do it? Because I want to make sure I have all of the things covered. So it would be 20 for the dishes, 30 for the pans, 50 for that.
So excluding like the back of the house, if we did like a front face entranceway touch up, how much more would that be?
You don't have much more. The exterior is pretty well taken care of on the facade.
Okay.
The facade, that's what Tully kind of threw in a twofer, and you wound up pretty well taking care of the initial entryway. The stairs have been repaired, the doors have been varnished, boards have been replaced where they were loose, shutters have been made to look whole again, and so forth. So you're pretty well covered on as they walk up to the place. It looks good.
Okay. So it just comes to that. Which one of us was going to handle trying to acquire drinks, by the way?
We do not know. We do not drink such things.
Where is our other member? Did he slide out? I didn't see any messages.
Not yet. He's on his way home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eppy's a minor. He's not allowed to drink yet.
We are not minors. We do not dig in the ground.
Well, I'm off to... Well, Eppy and I are hopefully going to get a bit more cash in a day, and I was thinking about trying to get this kitchen stocked and maybe get a license, so I could look into seeing if I can look into drinks or any brewing equipment.
Cash in is right there.
Here's how I would recommend you maybe breaking it up. To repair the cellar and buy brewing equipment, it's 50 each, total of 100. So if you're going to buy brewing equipment itself, you're going to have to come up with 100. Now you could just have a ramshackle cellar and have the brewing equipment. Do you and Eppy want to be responsible for handling the cellar and brewing equipment?
So it's to fix the cellar and the brewing equipment. It's like 100.
Yeah. If you don't have brewing equipment, then it's just 50 to repair the cellar and the supports for the wine racks and so forth. So it's a matter of whether you're going to actually buy a still and so forth for brewing equipment. So, Relian, are you and Eppy going to be responsible for that?
Well, until someone more responsible and qualified comes
No,
along.
clearly we should be the ones.
Clearly.
I had a chemistry set as a kid. This shouldn't be too different.
Just remember, you're not mixing chemicals in that sort of manner. You're food liquids.
There are food liquids?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we should just get a supplier for right now, and then we can focus on making our own brand.
It requires an extensive amount of heat.
Well, I've got that.
Then you may have food liquids.
I'm gonna go over and see what the job market's like.
So you head in, and I'm going to pull a token onto the screen so you get a bit of an idea of what this guy looks like. He doesn't look quite the norm. He looks a little on the odd side. He's here. I pulled his token onto near the porch there so you can see what he looks like. That's Vincent Trench. You go to his house, go down to his house, and he looks up. When you come in, he is lounging in an easy chair. Now let me describe what his downstairs looks like. Although his exterior house you wouldn't necessarily know was any kind of business if it wasn't for just that one single painted tiger's eye and the very simple words above it that say the tiger's eye. He doesn't make any point of his business. It's rather a plain building, looks just like a residence. And when you step in, it is clearly a downstairs salon or parlor or living room area that has been commandeered into a bit of an office space. He has a large desk on which papers are stacked very neatly. He is in an easy chair by a fireplace, and he is smoking a very long-stemmed, what would look like a ivory or meerschaum type of pipe. And he rolls his eyes and looks up at you and gives you a kind of one-sided smile. The fireplace is crackling merrily, and alongside the various pokers and things for the fireplace equipment, you also notice a very shiny and well-kept, sitting in a cradle type of thing, well-kept violin. And he is, as usual, although dressed differently than you saw him yesterday, he is dressed impeccably. His mustache is waxed. Everything is in perfect order, to the point that it's almost a little bit creepy that he's always so refined and so perfect.
Well, by now, Cashin is slightly used to it, and it's a definite improvement to his previous company. But either way, Cashin takes a seat takes a chair in front of him, and just looks at him. So, how's the morning treating you?
Which is excellent. I believe there will be a number of jobs that I'm expecting. I had some contacts last night, and I believe the day will be going quite well for me, frankly.
Well, if you ever need any footwork done, I'm always here to help.
You wished a list of names. And speaking of O'Seeley, Conrad, did I give you a list in Discord, or have I yet to do that? All right. I wanted to be sure that you, yeah, that's right. I did, yeah. All right. So he hands you this list. There are only 3 nobles that are listed on it, but he has taken the time to list some other names that may be of use to you. And he just hands you the list with his handwriting on it, very impeccable handwriting, and he just continues to puff on his pipe while you peruse the list. There are 3 nobles named Mert de Guerre, Victorio Castellanter, which any of you who have been in the city for any length of time would know both of these names. Mert is well known in the city. It is believed that he is possibly one of the lords, but he is not an open lord. But there is suspicion that he might be one of the lords. But he is a well-known money lender, and the shepherd would definitely know his name, because he is connected to organizations the shepherd is familiar with. Victorio Castellanter is a name that, to a certain extent, makes the hair stand up on the back of anyone's neck who has been around the city. And he is very rich noble. He has a great deal of money, and he and his twin sister seem to make a lot of people dance to their tune. They are massive power, but it is not thought that that they are either open or hidden lords of Waterdeep. They, however, have dangerous amounts of money. And the last name is Savra Bellabranta, that I believe Cashin would probably recognize in his previous background as being the Knight Honorant of the Order of the Gauntlet. She is well known, as is her position as the Knight Honorant. The other leaders he has listed on this are well-to-do businessmen of various things, most of whom are the heads of various workmen's guilds in the thing, ones that apparently he feels are looking for investments. And then he has written a final name on the list that is Emic Crone. And he says to watch out for him because he was in a vicious bidding war for the Troll Skull Manor and harbors resentment that he didn't wind up with the. So that is what you received from him.
Cashin takes a once over at all the names, raising a brow at a few of them, and looks at him and says, "Thank you very much. This is more than I could have asked for."
Vincent takes the pipe out of his mouth, blows a smoke ring, and looks over at you again. Beware, I would recommend, and this is the last thing that I will do for you entirely free, you understand. I will do lots of jobs for you, but only this once will I warn you that Mr. Crone owns the... I hesitate to call it a bar or tavern. It's more of a hole in the wall that is in the very upper northwest of the Troll Skull Alley. He seemed to be trying to wedge foot into the area. He's not a very friendly fellow, but I will caution you that he does business in the zone.
Cutthroat, huh? I'll be sure to keep an eye on him.
Is there anything else I can do for you? I will be happy if you and your friends wish any information found, seek any searchers, or anything that you might wish. I will be happy to do jobs for you if you have the coin.
Cashin thinks for a moment, but then just says, I'll contact you if we need anything. For now, we're trying to see where we stand.
But of course, I will be watching for you. But any kind of rubs his chin whiskers, which are more mutton chops than chin whiskers, and the one really odd thing about his whiskers is the mutton chops kind of stick out at all angles from the side of his face. They look to be rather unruly, as if he has a little trouble taming them. And he rubs them and kind of takes his hand and he briefly licks his fingers and smooths down his mutton chops as he's thinking. And he says, I am happy to know that the old girl is being opened again. I'll drop by for a visit. And he blinks a couple of times. Cashin, please roll a perception roll for me. Just seems to be rather odd mannerisms, and he has a very odd way of blinking at you. All right. Anything else Cashin's going to do before he exits that?
No, he leaves. He just gives him a good respectful bow before he leaves. And he will go about to the other shops asking them for work.
Very good. I need to find out how long before our guest is going to be in. Has he said anything?
I believe it's... They're on the way back now.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
Okay, hopefully he'll be in here shortly, because that impinges on what we're doing here. Let's take a break on Cashin and go to Nakri, who's going to go where? Oh yeah, you were going to go around to Nobles, but you could also.
Oh, actually,
do some other things.
I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna put that on hold still. I am heading for the woodworking guy to see what I can do
Well,
with
Tully is on your front porch at the moment. He's working doing those last frantic few things that he's trying to get handled.
Oh, that's who Tully is. Duh. Okay, sorry. I was like, wait, who's Tully? I'll bid him a good morning, see how he's doing, seeing if there's anything I can do to help make his job a little easier.
He looks up at you with he has a very winsome grin. He's a rather good-looking fellow, and he looks up with a broad grin that just kind of makes the sun come out whenever he's around. He's a very pleasant individual. And he looks up at you and beams broadly, and he looks down at his work and rubs his hand across the what he was finishing up, planing some boards, making them smooth so people would work across them, and he says, "Oh, this just does my heart good to see her shaping up. Will there be any other work you'll need me for when I'm finished with this?"
Yes, we were going over the finances and saw that we have enough to pay for furniture and restoration of the floorboards inside.
Excellent. I have several tables that probably will do well already made in the shop. Would you care to come over and see if they'll serve for your needs? They're typical kinds of chairs and tables of the sort.
Absolutely. Just let me know when is a good time for you. I don't want to take you away from your work.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the team on the alleyway picture rather than the troll skull itself, since we're kind of wandering around the alley. Let's have it up. Pull your token on, if you would. Apparently I don't have, let me look at some.
Let's see, where is... Oh, icons are still here. Haha.
Very good. Okay, yeah, I have.
Control skull is here. So it'll be there. A fix.
I have updated some of the tokens that they just had as an empty token with a name on it, so we've got a little better tokens on this. This guy needs to be updated. Joke. Have I got anyone else that's out of date? Yeah, Vincent's out of date. Got all the old ones on this one. They've got updated that one themselves, but I want to pull ours over just a moment. There have been some updates on the game, and some of the tokens are updated and some aren't, but I want to use the one we've been using.
I know in one of my other games, all of my money on my character is gone. It's totally...
Yeah, they updated, and all kinds of things can go crazy when you do that. And then, why do I not see? Oh, it's over there, and I've got to update those two tokens. All right. Okay, close enough for government work. Tully needs to be redone. As you walk down from the Troll Skull Manor down to Tully's shop that is here, with Tully, I'll put him outside here because he's walking with you. As you walk down to his shop, you can. How much was what did Tully explain to you about his past or any relationships he has with other people? Since I'm running several games, I have trouble remembering which people got which information.
He had a significant other. They were gone. I think there's a little bit of weirdness between him and one of the neighbors because of that sort of nature.
You've got kind of the edge of it, so that's fine, and that will.
That's as much as I can remember of what he mentioned to her. It was the Genasi blacksmiths that.
Yeah, he's got there's he doesn't seem to entirely get along with the Genasi couple blacksmiths that are in the blacksmith shop. Have you actually met them per se?
No, that was technically my next stop after this.
Cashin's the one that met them.
All right, and how much did you get told?
Cashin got told pretty much the same thing. Like he knows there's some awkwardness between him and the blacksmiths.
When you walk to Tully's place, you look. You can just see around the corner to the blacksmith shop, and you notice that the pair are out front. There is a water genasi and a fire genasi that are the couple. The two of them are speaking with a man who looks like he at least has Genasi blood, if he's not entirely Genasi. You just notice that that's going on. And Tully kind of glances over there and then very quickly walks inside his shop.
I'll take a quick gander over to get an idea of...
Would you pull our other guy in? Apparently he lost his connection somehow. Jumping in?
No, he says he's ready to jump in now.
But I need him in.
So he's in the... I think he can just join in.
Yeah, he should be able to just hop in.
Yeah, he's in the call. He's in the group. He's in the group chat. So yeah, there we go.
There we go. There. All right. And the man, as I said, who is standing with them, he's tall, somewhat slender, which is part of why you say that he has probably got Genasi blood. He has very dark green, almost sea-colored, dark, deep green sea-colored hair that is completely shaved up one side of his head and is braided or bound into kind of a long, what would you call it if it's not braided? Tail, yeah, on one side of his head, and is shaved up the other, and he is standing with the others. As you see the three of them standing there, you see Embrick, who is the fire genasi, say something and point towards you and Tully. Let me move you down. This has got the wrong thing here. Get this corrected. Why is it showing that? There we go. All right. He points as you and Tully walk into the door, and the fire genasi turns very rapidly and walks back into the shop brusquely. He turns, basically it very much feels like he turned his back on you and walked in very suddenly. The water genasi looks a bit distressed and follows him in. Okay, so Tully ushers you in. You can see a kind of pained look on his face as he noticed the things going on, and he kind of seems to gain his composure.
I'll just, to the whole thing, just raise an eyebrow slightly at the situation. Go with him, but is going to not bring up the awkwardness for the time being.
And to our guest, if you're able to jump into the game itself, it will help. So he immediately kind of, you can see him just kind of like regain his composure, and he starts talking about the furniture that he's got in the shop. He starts telling you, you know, how it's made and the various things, trying to quickly change the subject on it.
I'll do a little bit of my own tests, just carefully lean into the table just to see how much weight it can support. I figured if it can support Knockery's heavy ass leaning on it, then it should be fine. They're on phone, can't to PC.
Hey, pardon, we've got a little, maybe I ought to go to a break. We've got a little bit of technical problems here with the guest.
Dun, dun, dun.
Unable to connect at the moment. We're trying to get everybody together. Okay, well, we'll go on with what you've got there. All right, even with you not having a great deal of carpentry knowledge, it doesn't take long for you to see that he has definitely made things very well. He's clearly a very good craftsman when it comes to wood, and everything is very sturdy, doesn't have any flaws in it. He clearly takes great pride in his craftsmanship.
One second. Sorry, home life stuff. She'll compliment him for the work and whatnot. Look everything over once more and go, I think this will do. We can definitely work with this.
Very good. I'm glad that I could approve of it. My wife used to be the one that would take care of everything and make sure that I'd done it well. So it's good to have a woman that's saying that I'm doing it well. I like to have that side of things.
Well, I can definitely say that I believe I can safely say that I have enough of an artistic eye to see quality when it's sitting there right in front of my face.
He beams at the compliment. He obviously is very happy being able to please you with it.
Well then, who to send to pick this up? Outside of most likely bringing it myself.
I'll help you with that. It's no problem. I'll be able to truck it back and forth a bit for you.
As you can see, I have had no issue helping in the past with other things. So, lifting a table is not that uncommon.
Well, I'm sure that you can do some helping too, but it doesn't mean you have to do it all. And he proceeds with his rather burly arms to pick up a table and shoulder it and head out. Grab a chair or two and follow me. We'll get it over there.
I'll grab at least like 2 possibly, depending on how I carry it, 3 chairs and follow them out.
Very good. And it takes the two of you probably the better part of half an hour to get all of the things that you've chosen out of a shop over to the thing. So we will say that for the whatever money I said, was it 50? That for your
Yeah,
tavern
and then
40 for tavern furniture, yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll go over what spots in the main room on the floor that need to get touched up, and then I'll pay in advance. I'll just pay the 130 full for like payment of the furniture, and then paying ahead for the work on the floor.
Very good.
And then
I'm
we'll
writing down that those two are done so that I have that down in the list. The tavern damage, ground floor damage. So 50 and 40 is done. 50 for the floor damage, 40 for the furniture.
Mhm. But you said for floor and furniture it was 130.
No, that included kitchen. Kitchen.
Oh no, I thought kitchen
yeah.
was else.
No, it's 50 for the ground floor damage remaining inside the tavern, 40 for the tavern furniture. Then we had pans, we had dishes, and the kitchen damage that were also outstanding.
Okay, how much?
Totaling at 190.
Okay. Come back to your spreadsheet. Okay, so to fix the damages in the kitchen, not the dishes part, but just the damages.
40.
How much?
40.
So it was.
So 50 for
I'm
the tavern damage, 40 for the tavern furniture, that's 90, and 40 for the kitchen damage, that would be the 130 you were remembering.
Yeah, that's what I will pay in the thing. I have it marked off to pay like 130 complete.
Perfect.
Type.
All right, I put done beside those three, so we know that that has been done.
Okay, I got.
Yeah, easy when we're not looking at the same spreadsheet. It's very easy to do.
Oh yeah, I have it marked a certain way on my sheet to get that.
Yeah. That's why I say once I get this up where we're all looking at the same Google Docs.
Same thing. Oh yeah.
Okay, so 130.
So then, how much for just the dishes by themselves? Or was it the dish? Sorry. Getting ahead of myself. Forgive me.
Okay, I've got the 130 in there so that I've got that subtracted. You're down to 1270 for what remains. The dishes were 20 gold. You'll have to get those elsewhere because he doesn't carry dishes.
Oh yeah. And then it's like I lumped the dishes and kitchen equipment under the same.
Dishes are 20. That's just a tavern area, and then if you want pans, it's another 30. 50 to handle dishes and pans.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what I had separate there. I just want to make sure I had everything right. That's all. Forgive me.
Well, our guest is having problems. He cannot connect. That's sad. We are trying to get him up, but he's having all kinds of problems. So we may not be seeing him tonight. I don't know why he said another month, but
I don't know.
Okie doke. Well, we're doing the best we can. And somebody has dropped off a game. Who's missing out a game? Epi.
It says I'm in.
Now it does.
Yeah, we're all in.
For a while.
We got a little kerfluffled.
Technology is not our friend this weekend.
Is it anyone's friend, really?
trying to see what's going on with the tech here. Okay, there. Well, anyway, so you have those things taken care of. So the kitchen damage, and you're going to, when you find a source, you're going to cover the dishes and pans. Is that right, Knockford?
Yeah, I think so.
So I will put in progress on that.
Yeah. My next step was to go while he was continuing the work at the house, or at least the tavern portion, was to go meet the Genazis. But we can move to someone else for a bit to give, you know.
Very good. Okay. So the other businesses clearly on the street, you've got this one down here. That is Corellian's Crown. That is that business. And Vincent's business is here. And there's a business here that's a bookstore. And then we need another guy, which I don't have on here. Okay, he's on there. He needs to be there too. All right. So where are you going to try to go then?
Who?
Not free.
Oh, I was gonna go back to the Genasi, but like I said, if someone else wants, if you want to cut to someone else for a little bit, that's fine. I'm
Very good.
waiting.
All right. So let's cut to Rel and Epiphany. Relian and Epiphany. What are they doing now?
I would assume that they would wake up pretty early, maybe earlier than the others, and the first thing they would do is they would use the early morning to probably do their investigating. In other words, they're going to do their investigation rolls and see what they get.
Okay. What exactly are you investigating?
The task you gave us last session, the whole looking into exactly what the splinter group of the Zent are up to.
Oh, okay. All right. That one. Yeah. So you give me, both of you give me an investigation roll to see if you catch wind of anything that's going on. Epiphany, people today seem to be kind of looking at him askance when he comes by. But Relian manages to kind of hold back, look like he's not with the group and so forth. And he hears two women talking, basically gossiping. I tell you, it can't possibly be true. I heard it from a good source that there's, well, what did they call it? A semicrum. That doesn't make any sense. What's a semicrum? Well, I don't know. It was something like semicrum. And the semicrum had something or other to do with well, that Zent organization people. Well, I have no idea what a semicrum is. You're going to have to find out more than that. And with that, she just kind of fluffs, and the woman who said it kind of fluffs and huffs like she's insulted that her words being made fun of, and she just turns and gets very busy with a little bakery stall and isn't talking to the woman anymore. What is the shepherd doing? I notice he's with the two of them. What's the shepherd doing?
I was just messing around with them out of kind of out of game. The shepherd is not with them.
Where is the shepherd?
He would actually be going on to find another contact, if not the original contact he has been going to.
Are you going back to the same office, or are you going to a different one?
I would probably mix it up just so people don't think I have dealings or anything. So I'll probably go to a different office, probably.
1 second. Are you going to be in any trade guilds or anything like that?
I don't think there are any trades that he would actually get into. I may have to look at it one more time. Let me see. Oh, is it from you?
Since you have no guilds that you are associated with, the only thing that you can figure out that you could go and see if anybody had any work is it suddenly dawns on you to go to the Undertaker's Guild.
Oh, there's an Undertaker's Guild.
And so you go in and chat up the group in there.
Well, I mean, that's not what he was planning to do, at least not right away. The one he wanted to do was to go to one of his big guild contacts, because he needs to give some information.
All right, so you going back to the Harpers?
Yeah.
So go on back. When you go into the Harpers, the person that you met the day before is not in the office. It's a different person entirely. And you take one look and you blink, you're rather startled to see him actually on the premises, because normally he doesn't actually spend time rolling up his sleeves with the masses, shall we say. But you actually recognize Mert in the office. Mert Daguerre.
I'm sorry. Merc or Mert?
M-I-R-T Daguerre. I'll write it in the game chat.
Okay.
This is one of the names that was given to Cashin by Vincent, as having some connections to your unit and to many other things in the city. He's apparently well connected in many ways. He is best known as being a moneylender in the city. His alternate name that many people call him by and use is Mert the Moneylender. And he is actually in the Harper's office. He seems to be talking very busily with the man who was assisting you before.
Okay. I just look around to make myself look busy until I get an opening to talk with him.
And you're going to try to talk with Mert himself?
Or whoever else is available that I recognize as part of my unit.
The man that you spoke with before, and I'm afraid they don't have his name down here, and the name has escaped me. What was his name? In one of the Joshua. No, that was the.
That was the horse guy. Well, I mean, there was a woman that I've only ever talked to. I don't think I ever talked to any other man outside of Joshua.
Okay, so it's that person that you see speaking with him. She tugs on Mert's sleeve, and she opens her hand towards you like, I want to introduce you. And she says, Mert, I believe you know the shepherd. He's one of our flock. And Mert turns. He's a very red-faced, heavy-set fellow, very much looks the part of a moneylender, and he turns with a politician's grin to you and sticks out a beefy red hand towards you to shake your hand.
I go on ahead and shake his hand. Give a good grip.
Glad to know you. Glad to know you. She's been telling me that you've been assisting with finding Maxine. That's good to have Maxine back in the flock again. We were worried about her.
It was good to be of use again. I haven't done anything like that in a long time.
What can we do for you today?
I was actually going to see her, and I did do a little nod to the woman about seeing if there's anyone available for maybe a shadow job. Unfortunately, I cannot try to do this myself since I am known to the targets.
Oh, a shadow for what, Shepard? It's the woman speaking.
There are a few individuals that has caught my attention for the dealings that they have been doing as of late, and I want to know more about them before I consider them friend or foe.
She slides a piece of paper across the desk and says, please write down the names and we will have them checked out.
I write down the names, and they are Relian and Epiphany.
You dick.
I hope you. So Gore, I hope you've enjoyed your last sunrise with this character.
I pass it back to them. You do remember I told you that I was with a few fellows with retrieving Maxine. Unfortunately, they were hesitant in me pursuing any further action against the man that tried to take her.
Curious, most curious.
Indeed.
You don't have any last names for this?
No, I can provide pretty good descriptions, though. They are hard to miss.
Oh, please do then.
And I go on to describe Relian and Epiphany, a man with a shrouded face and colorful eyes that seems to not stick to one color for long, and a creature that is hard to really, I guess, describe outside of he wears a tarp and does not look human in any way, shape, or form.
Most curious. I don't think these names have come across our desk before. I might put out some feelers with some of our operatives and see if they have heard of these people coming into the office that you mentioned. We have to be careful these days. Word has reached us that there may be a split occurring in that faction. Are you aware of this?
I believe we talked about it yesterday after I came with the news of Maxine.
Yes, well, we can handle and deal to a certain extent with the situation as it's been, the status quo, but it's a matter of whether they dance to one tune or the other. If they dance to the second, they could be very dangerous people.
I would be under the suggestion that they're dangerous regardless of their affiliation. It just depends on how dangerous they are with one or the other.
Well, I thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will notify you. You have the tickets to the opera, yes?
Yes, I have them and I pull them out. They are for 2 days from now and then a week after that.
Yes, the Fall of Tiamat. And the burly man, the heavyset man, grins at you and he goes, that's one seat in my private box, you know. I'll be glad to have you there. He's kind of come around from behind the counter and he's standing there looking at the list and talking with you, and he reaches up and claps you very heavy-handed on your back. He's just pure politician in everything that he does.
Right. Well, I look forward to meeting you there then.
If I have any information at that time, I'll be sure to let you know. I've found that all the giants singing in the background is a good way to converse without anybody hearing you, if you know what I mean.
I'm afraid I do not. I don't think I've ever heard giant before. Or if I had, I wouldn't remember it.
You've got an experience in store. It's loud, it's boisterous. The music, it stirs the soul and beats on the eardrums.
That will be very good news then.
And he nods. We'll find out something about this, and I'll let you know.
To help with your investigation then, the reason why they do know of me is because they are located at Troll Skull as well.
Oh, yes, you're the one doing Troll Skull Manor. Oh, I'll have to come by and get a drink or two. I'll bring some of my cronies. I bet you they'll enjoy coming. This is great.
We should be up in operations in a day or two. Our benefactor is currently getting, I believe, tables and chairs.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll bring some friends by. We'll see what we can do to keep you going.
Very well. I understand that you're a money lender as well.
Oh, why, yes. That's one of my occupations, absolutely.
Is there any way I can ask for an investment in this with obvious that I would return such investment at a later date?
Give me a persuasion roll.
Sure. Persuasion. Not very good. That's a 6.
Well, I might give you a small loan. We'll start out since I know that you haven't had a great deal of income in the past, being our shepherd and all and managing the dead. How about we just start out with a small loan of 100 and see how that goes?
That sounds reasonable.
And so all of you know any loans are 5% per 10 day. That's just a standard across the board.
All right. Let's open up the thing and make a note of that. Not no bad though. I thank you for the investment, and I will see to it that your investment is returned.
Since you're one of the flock, I can't say no. We've got to make sure that things are up and running, and, well, I think the Troll Skull will be a good source for us. I think we'll be able to hear a lot of things there.
I hope so. Well, unless there are any other news or possibly even a job that may be available, I will take my leave.
Very good. I ask around at the various guilds. We haven't got any more things that are up after you got Maxine. It's a little too soon after that, but we haven't heard anything that you could particularly help with at this point. But please come back in a few days and see what you can find. At this point, I can only point you towards the guilds.
Very well, and I give a bow and take my leave.
Very good.
While
Right.
Shep is at the Harpers, we're at the Zent office. So we'd like to order a hit.
There is this fellow who's been talking smack about us. He is.
And thus it was the party fell to fighting among themselves.
We do actually want to head to the Zent office to see if there's any more work to be done, though.
They pretty much tell you the same thing, that the next day is a little too soon. They haven't had anything come in. They're still dealing with the whole situation between some issues that have come up with disagreements with some of their party members, with some of their group members, and also trying to deal with the whole matter of the saloon trial. While you are standing there, there is a very breathless younger member, looks like, comes rushing in and interrupts the conversation. Your contact tries to stop him, but he just shoves it in. He seems to be very, very interested in getting this in, and he just interjects it. And he says, I needed to tell you, it looks like they're going to move the trial up. I think they were trying to slip it in under so that the witnesses wouldn't show up.
How soon are we talking about, kid?
I think they're going to do it in just like tomorrow or the next day. I've got to keep an eye out, but I know they've erased it off the docket for the week, and there's been some talk about things are going to be happening sooner.
Who erased it?
Well, one of the magisters, I assume. They're the ones who manage the board.
What is your source for this information?
One of the clerks that we have down at the justice office.
And how do you know this clerk is trustworthy?
He's one of ours, sir.
How do you know?
He just kind of shrugs.
Insight check.
He just shrugs and looks at Dabble like, what? And like, what? And Dabble goes, it's all right. I'll handle it. And he turns back. He says, the man is one of ours. He's been there for over a year. You can trust him. He keeps his ear to the ground about the matters happening in the Justice Department.
With all due respect, Davil, there was another who was in here just several days ago who is no longer trustworthy.
Well, you've got a point. I can only vouch for him as much as I know, and he's given us lots of good information. But certainly, if it looks like these trials being moved up, we better take precautions and make sure we keep an eye on it. If they try to sneak the trial in early, we've got to be there.
Where is this magistrate now?
The magistrate or the clerk?
The one who would give you this information.
That is the clerk.
And where is this clerk?
He would be in the Justice Department, but I'm not going to give you his information. I would rather go down there myself because I don't want him outed.
Epi, calm down. I think the real question here is, why on earth would the magisters want to sneak this trial under the rug? An elf murdering other elves typically isn't something they would care about hiding. If anything, they love a good act show. So why are they trying to hide this?
You want my take on it? There'll be money involved.
Perhaps Saloon's benefactor is the one that bribed the magistrates to adjust the schedule.
There you have the heart of it. I would be highly suspicious that's exactly what happened. There's a lot of money to be had from that.
Kid, is this going to be an open trial or a closed thing?
Well, it's supposed to be an open trial, sir. But it can be open, and if nobody knows about it, it might as well be a closed one.
Perhaps we should tell our other associates.
Mm-hmm. Listen, kid. Rel grabs him by the shoulder and brings him in close. Listen here, kid. You're going to keep your ears open and your eyes on this situation real good, you hear me? And when you know for a fact that the trial is on the dead horizon, as it were, when it's only moments away, you're going to come get us, and we're going to get our friends, and we're going to show up to this little shindig, and we're going to cause a ruckus.
Well,
it will be enjoyable.
yes, sir. And he kind of, his eyes go back to Dabble, like, am I supposed to be taking orders from them? But Dabble just kind of soothes him, and he says, well, your technique may need a little refining there, Relian, but your point is a good one. We need to keep an ear to the ground, and as soon as we can get wind of when this trial's been moved to, we'll let you know. I'll send the young man here over to Troll Skull Alley to speak with you. It's probably, knowing them, it'll be within the next 2 days if they're going to rush it.
Excellent. If they don't want witnesses, well, we'll give them a witness anyway. We've got a prime witness, one who screamed like a girl.
And then fell.
All right.
So he motions to the younger man or older teen to kind of, with his hand, he kind of shoos him out of the office and says, come back as soon as you know, and we'll get the information over to them. You know where Troll Skull Alley is, right? Of course I do, Dabble. Do you think I'm daft? Good. Well, come to me first, and then you'll report to Troll Skull Alley and tell them if the trial's been moved. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cashier will remember that.
All right. Well, we got that, and interesting little tidbit of information. And since there are no jobs to be found here, I suppose the next order of business is to try and find work out in the street. I don't know, some kind of job that will pay something.
Okay, are you distantly connected to any of the guilds?
I've got rep with the Harpers.
He shows up. Hey there, Bucket Boys.
Yeah. You go in and they go, oh, son of a gun, you look just like somebody we're looking for. Thanks for showing up.
I know, isn't that weird? I tell you what, I'll sit down and talk with you for 300 gold.
Yeah.
Friend Rel, we are not suited for soliciting occupations from others. We have a small errand we would run on our own, if you would not mind it.
Oh, well, if that's what you feel, Epi, I'm more than happy to give you your space, but you be safe, and you be home by midnight, okay?
We will be home when we can be.
No, that's the best. That's the look both ways across the street. Don't talk to strangers, and if you do, eat them.
Perfect.
And Epiphany shoots off and heads towards a particular place.
And Relion goes off to find some kind of job.
You going to message me or something where you're headed?
Sure. Where would you prefer the message?
Probably in this case it'll have to be in Discord since we don't have videos up real quick. Okay.
So now what?
All right, so you arrive at this office, and it's kind of a tower that you arrive at, and there are a lot of guards downstairs. There's probably 4 standing at attention outside the door.
This is to me.
Yes.
Epiphany inhales and pushes himself up to his full height. His back pops. And they start walking towards the guards.
They, he, you mean, right? Just he, or is there more than one?
Epiphany.
Yeah.
Just Epiphany.
Okie doke. And I want to get something here for myself. I need information. I know how I'll do it. We'll do it this way. That. I can't remember her name. Trying to find the Blackstaff's name. Ah, there it is. Got it.
Water Dance, brought to you by water and dancing.
The guards immediately, they are holding staves, not pikes. And the two guards nearest the door throw their hands towards each other, basically making an X across the door with their staves. And they just look at you, waiting to see what you want.
I have come to speak to the Black Staff.
The Black Staff does not speak with just anyone.
Tell the Black Staff that the Vat Pet has come to speak with her.
They look at each other, and there's a kind of a visual shrug passes between them, and one of the men at the door turns to the man next to him, says something to him, and the second man on his side goes, they pull the staves back from the door, and he enters in and is gone for a little bit.
Epiphany plucks a roach and eats it.
The men, you can tell, are not pleased with what you're doing, but they are trying to keep very straight faces and act very much the guards of the thing. So they are just kind of standing there stiff backed like they're trying to ignore you. Finally,
the entire time Epiphany's just at his full height.
Finally, the man that was sent up, he's gone about 10 minutes. Finally, he comes back to the door, leans over to the man who spoke to you, and just kind of says a little something while he's looking at you and back at the door. Finally, there's another look passes between everybody, and the man says, "It looks like you will be able to enter. Please, follow this one." And he points to the man that had run the errand.
And Epiphany does so.
You start up a winding spiral staircase up into a high tower that goes up and up and up. You pass a lot of floors, but still they keep going up into narrower and narrower diameter rooms until you get pretty much to the top of the tower, and you walk into a cluttered office that has everything from alchemy equipment to rows of books, many books piled on a large desk, and a very elegantly dressed lord or lady with very dark hair turns around to look you up and down. I'll put her on this map that you're currently on so you will see what she looks like.
Oh my gosh, she's giant!
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted you to be able to see it real easy. This woman turns around and she looks you up and down. So you are the Pact. I have not heard from you in some time.
We apologize, Blackstaff, but per our arrangement, I have information that may be of value to you in order to keep my continued permission to be here.
Indeed, indeed. I haven't been receiving too many bad reports of late. Please, tell me what you wish to share.
And Epiphany comes over. I do not know how much you are aware of, but there is a split in the Zentarum. And the rift is getting wider by the day.
The inner arguments of the Zentarum do not necessarily concern us. It may only work in our favor should they fight each other and die.
It will not, because the leader of one of these splits is called Manchun.
You jest.
Have you known me to jest?
She kind of turns her head to the side and rubs her chin. That couldn't possibly be. He's been dead for what, a century?
There was word on the streets, something about a simulacrum or some such. In relation to it. Simulacrum. That word sounds more correct.
Simulacrum.
He is playing with simulacrums? That's distressing. Please.
We do not know what this is.
A simulacrum? It is a fleshy construct which can, in extreme circumstances, house the, shall we say, mentality of an individual.
Either way, it does not matter whether or not it is Manchun, but there are enough splits going on in the Zentarum that many are allowing it to be destabilized in order to serve the whims of either the entity that is Manchun or wishes to be called Manchun.
Maybe this does affect us if Manchun is involved. That is not good information, but right now it is only rumor, correct?
There was an incident in the street that I had where there was an individual who claimed that, who mentioned the wizard in passing. I do not know of many Zentarium wizards who would openly defy the order in such a way.
This could explain much why the second faction gained power so quickly. I will have to investigate this. Please, if you get any further information about this, please let me know immediately, and I will see what we can do with our scrying to see if he can determine. This is not good if he has returned. He might challenge things far beyond simply the Zentarum. Needless to say, he craves power. What would bring him back at this time? What could he possibly be seeking? Why would he want to gain control over the faction? Find these things out.
Kyle the player has a theory, but I don't know if Epiphany has the theory.
Well, Kyle the player can have Epiphany do some research.
Yes. We will examine the situation. There have been rumors of certain happenings amongst other organizations in the underworld. They are very active these days. Perhaps there is something of great import being moved or something valuable.
Well, I appreciate. Continue your work, and we will extend your permissions to remain free.
We appreciate that.
Just don't disappoint me.
If there is nothing else, we will leave.
She nods. You may. I will research this myself, and I will look forward to any further information we can gather.
We will share per the arrangement, and Epiphany starts heading out to reconnect with the group at some point.
You gain an additional point of renown with the basically the mage's power.
Epi building them connections.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. So we will shrink Epi back down to his normal size as he hunches over.
Shrinky-dink.
Is he going back to Troll Skull Alley, or where is he headed?
He's just gonna head back to Troll Skull and continue doing his mending stuff because Relian's off trying to find work, and Epiphany knows that they won't be much help with that.
Okay, Relian, do you have any ideas where you would go to look for work?
Well, see, I know the Harpers isn't a good idea for various reasons.
Go to the Harpers. Go to the Harpers.
But at the same time, I know they don't have any work, because if they didn't give the Shepherd any work, they won't give me any work. So, I guess I would go around Troll Skull Alley and talk to our new neighbors, introduce myself, and see if they have any odd jobs they need doing.
All right.
Maybe I can get some free services out of them, at the very least.
All right. Who are you going to go to first?
Let's see, I know Nakri was going to the blacksmiths. Who else is around here at the moment?
Actually, because our guest couldn't be here, we had to put that a little bit on hold. So we've got this one here that hasn't had much exposure. Obviously, you could talk to Vincent as well. You've got this bookstore that's down at the western end of the alley, and whoever this person is that's here.
So there's 3 places that no one's been at all.
They've only Cashin has kind of dropped by and noticed a little bit about him, but didn't spend any long time with him. He came back and reported what they were. You knew this was a bookstore that seemed oddly bigger on the inside than on the outside. You knew that this was some kind of herb shop. You knew about the blacksmith, about the carpenters, and about the guy who's a private eye. So you know about them in like 1 or 2 sentence summaries from Cashin. That's about it.
What the heck? Let's go to the bookshop.
Very good. So you head down to the bookshop. Alrighty. As you step in, the first thing you see is Cashin was absolutely right. And probably as you step in, you would back your head out. You'd stop in the doorway and lean back out on the street and lean your head back and look up and down the front wall of the building. And the front wall, it looks like it's about 30 feet across, something like that. You look inside the shop and you would swear that it was twice that size. there are bookshelves everywhere. There are hundreds and hundreds of books, and you can see a kind of a mezzanine floor above with even more bookshelves above that, and then stairs, since it's kind of open to the mezzanine, you can see stairs that go up to yet a third story on the building.
Paradise.
Behind the counter, let me describe the sign first because it relates to this. The sign that hangs out front is called the Dragon's Hoard, and there is a picture of a small gold dragon with wings that is happily curled around a hoard pile. The hoard pile is books that are stacked up as best you can tell, since the sizing is kind of hard to determine, but you just have the feeling it's a young dragon. So the pile of books is probably piled up like 10 feet high, and this little gold dragon is curled happily around his hoard of books.
That's adorable.
And when you step inside, you see behind the counter a gold dragonborn. He has rather large spectacles. He is pretty much humanoid. He doesn't look really dragon, but he is clearly dragonborn. But his face, the front part of his face, is just a bit elongated into a bit of a snout. And these spectacles are seated rather far from his eyes down on his nose. He is wearing a red robe with gold trim on it. He's leaning on the counter, writing something in a ledger, and when he hears the tinkle of the bell as you open it and step in, he looks up at you and kind of adjusts the glasses so that he can see you better and goes, "Oh, well, come in. Oh, welcome, come.
Hello there, my good sir. I just thought I'd pop in and introduce my good self. I suppose you could say I'm a new neighbor around these parts."
Oh, really? Oh, and he kind of claps his hands together in a happy way. Oh, I'm so happy. What? Where are you residing?
Me and a few compatriots, companions, colleagues, allies. We're set up shop in the old Troll Skull Manor, trying to get the tavern up and running. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
Glorious, just simply glorious. I've been hoping for absolutely months that somebody would take that over after that awful argument that the auction started, and then Mr. Voldo came up with it. And I mean, it was hideous, I tell you, and I'm so glad somebody's doing something.
There was an argument over ownership?
Oh, it was terrible. I mean, just terrible. I mean, Mr. Froon, he had his heart set on it, and he outbid everybody else, and it was clear that he was going to get it. And I don't know what he had in mind with it. He's not a pleasant individual, you understand. But he was determined to get it, and he just threw so much money at it, and the gavel came down once, and the gavel came down twice, and just as they were about to say sold, Mr. Volo jumped up and started waving money at them, and by golly, he stole the auction right out from under Mr. Friend's nose.
I'm starting to see why Volo is broke most of the time.
Yes, well, it's doubtful that money was entirely Mr. Volo's. He probably owes a great deal on it, but it did not please Mr. Froon. I'll tell you, it didn't please him one bit. No, siree. And then he came around and bought up that old shack up there in the corner and said he was going to have a tavern open and he was going to do all this stuff, but I don't understand where he's getting the money from. I mean, he just drives off half the customers. They come in for a drink, and he just is so rude that most people won't stay around. I hope your crew's a lot better with the Troll Skull.
Ah, my dear sir, I'll have you know that I have in my companionship that some of the finest and most charismatic and most charming individuals you ever did see. I need to introduce you to my little brother Epi. He's a delight.
Oh, I will look forward to it. That's just wonderful. I'm just, when are you going to open? I've been seeing that Tully's been over there hammering some boards. When are you going to open?
Well, our desired opening day would be the festival itself. Open up with a bang, as it were.
Harvesttide. Oh, that would be wonderful. That's not far away. I'll be down there.
Please do. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your strangers that come into your shop. Tell everybody. Speaking of which, you have a very nice shop here.
Why, thank you. This is my love of life, you know. I've done this for decades, and this is just what I love.
I see. I can't help but feel a certain tingle in the air, and I can't help but notice a certain displacement of space, as it were. This is a quite unusual shop, but not all in a bad way. No, sir, quite in a good way.
Oh, are you a gourmet of the arts? Oh, a fellow compatriot. Oh, yes, I ran out of space long ago, so I had to expand on the old place, you know.
My good sir, there's a talent here, a certain art that I can't even describe. You, sir, are clearly quite gifted in spatial magics, and perhaps magic as a whole. Yes, sir. Glad to meet you. I'm a sorcerer by birth and inclination.
Well, if anybody needs any tomes on any matter, I think I have something to satisfy almost any need, within reason, of course, but I have hundreds of volumes here.
You wouldn't happen to have anything rare or interesting, would you? I'm sure most of it's quite interesting, but I'm talking about some of the more rare and arcane and maybe even powerful variety, or maybe you're even looking to add to your collection.
Oh, I'm always looking to add to my collection. That does remind me, sir. You wouldn't be willing to possibly run a bit of an errand that might, I don't know exactly if it's going to entail any problems or not. You see, I've got a bit of a problem.
My good sir, I happen to be an expert at problem solving.
Well, you see, I had a tome that it was a spell book, and it contained 3 rather valuable spells in it, and someone managed to sneak it out of here without my seeing. They did. 2 of them came in, and one of them had me quite busy over in that corner, and the other one seemed to have gotten away with it while I was busy.
The old look-see and snatch and grab. I see. Don't take it so hard, sir. Many a humble and noble shopkeeper has fallen prey to that. Not that I would know anything about that, no, sir. But anyway, what did these ne'er-do-wells look like?
Well, the one that had me involved in the corner was a young woman. She was reasonably well dressed. I would say she was probably a well-to-do businessman was what I thought she was, and she was looking for volumes related to cooking, and she was in here. She was dressed quite well, and she spoke about having thoughts of opening a kitchen, and she was looking for cooking volumes. So we went over in the corner to look at the cooking section. The other one came in right behind her, and I didn't notice which section he was in. I was paying attention to the first woman. I did notice that he was rather short and somewhat young. I was curious why he wanted to come in a bookshop. He didn't look to be quite as well dressed. Perhaps a worker of some kind. He had rather long, shaggy dark hair, and a very narrow face with close-set eyes. I should have suspected from the beginning. It's terrible. The woman had blonde hair that was lifted into a bun at the back of her head. And she was wearing a green dress at the time.
So two reasonably well-dressed fellows. One appeared to be one who presented herself as a businesswoman and one who appeared to be as a worker of some kind, clearly in it together. Did you happen to know, when did you notice the valuable tome was missing, my good sir?
Oh, probably the next morning. I was straightening the books and I realized there was a space on the aisle over there where the various spell books are kept, and I hadn't removed a book from that section. I know where all my books are, and there were two books leaning together, and that just screamed to me that something had happened. I mean, wouldn't you notice that if the two books were leaning together?
In such a well-organized collection as yourself, I certainly would notice, yes, sir. So, did either one give a name or anything? Most likely not their true name, but an alias can help track them down. Yes, sir, yes, sir. And what's more, what did the spell tome itself look like? Any distinguishable runes or markings or etchings?
Why, yes, it was called Rigby's and Other Spells of Value was the name of it. It was written by an old mage that is quite popular. He was from a number of years ago. His name was Jasper Givant. And Jasper, he liked to record such things. I've sold quite a few of his works.
I see. And any sort of name they might have given you?
One second. The name that she gave me was only a first name. She said that she was Madame Elena, and that she was going to open a kitchen called Elena's Kitchen. I don't know if there really is such a thing. She didn't buy the books.
Most likely an alias or just a distraction to keep your head turned, as it were. But Elena, you'd be surprised how often people reuse aliases. Pretty woman, well-to-do in green, named Elena, and a short fella, black hair, in worker's garb. Not a lot, but something to go on. Good sir, I'll certainly look into it for you. I would love nothing more than to build up a good repertoire and reputation with my neighbors.
That book is worth quite a deal of money, and if you would be willing to return it to me, I would be quite happy to pay you a sum of 50 gold for its return. It's quite valuable, sir.
Sir, you got yourself a bargain.
Very good. All right, before we start winding down for these things of tonight, it's probably about 10 o'clock in the morning by now. Any other chores that need running for gaining of monies or anything else that you wish to put on the list that you're going to pay for before opening?
I think once I get the kitchen utensil stuff squared away with and the dishes, probably would look for like drapery, maybe like a simple cloth for the table, cleaning cloths for the countertops, just
very good
things.
And,
just like small things.
Since we've got a hiccup on our other person that was trying to get here, are we going back to thinking in terms of buying alcohol from the vintners?
Yeah, we still have to get the license to sell and whatnot.
Somebody will have to go, and you either go to the city manager and purchase an entire restaurateur's license for 50 gold, or if you only want food, or only want just a business, or only want an entertaining license, they're each 25.
It'll probably be easier just to buy it like that little set bundle and just go with the 50.
Very good. So you would take care of that?
If nobody else gets to it, then yeah, I'll take care of it.
Okay, I'll put done on that, so and I'll assume at this time Nokri's handling it. Shepard, you came into a little bit more funds. What are you thinking of doing with yours?
Blackjack and hookers.
PG-14, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I would make it back
more
to
lyrics thing.
No, I would make it back to Troll Skull, and I would inform Nokri that I have came into some more funds and give her the 100 gold.
Okay, very good. So you can swap that over into your funds and make note of where it came from, Nokri, so that you know what's going on with that. And so we have a little bit more money. You are getting very close to being ready to just barely open for the night, the first day that you will be doing things. So you're just about there. You're doing pretty good on your start-up costs. All right, anybody else that has anything they need to cover?
Well, I was going around the neighborhood getting jobs from people.
Okay, who do you want to get a job from?
What?
Who do you want to get a job from?
I wanted to roleplay that out.
Well, I'm saying what person, where are you going, who are you going to try and find this job? I need to know who, so I have the job up.
There are 2 other locations that you have to explore.
I mean, even Vincent may have jobs for you. It's just that you've got to go tell me who you're talking to.
I know. I will just go to the herbalist.
Okay, very good. So you go into this, the moment you walk into this shop, it just, greenery assails your senses. There is a great deal of greenery in this shop. It's like there's magic areas around the room that cast light, and kind of growing tables all around the room, and it's very moist, humid in the thing. When you go in, the person behind the counter is clearly a wood elf, but it's almost impossible to tell if they have a gender. They seem to be very much just kind of, they're either a very sturdy woman or a very busy, energetic sort of male. You don't know which they are.
Well, having already met the androgynous elf before, he greets himself again, or introduces himself again.
Ah, yes. You're Cassian, right? I believe you said?
Cashin.
Ah, very good, Cassian. I will remember that. Excellent. Can I interest you in some plants or perhaps some potions? I have quite a few potions in the shop.
I'm actually interested in helping you get things.
Oh, really? You will run errands for me?
Quite.
Well, excellent, excellent. Sometimes with all that I have to take care of, and you can see that up the stairs and what you can see of the opening at the top of the stairs, apparently in this 2-story building that you've gathered that Fala lives in. The name is Fala, and I have trouble pronouncing the last name, Lefalair. 2 I's in that. Lefalair. Fala apparently lives in the building, but apparently lives among the plants that are climbing up. There's ivy type of things climbing up the walls and snaking around the stairs, and apparently they just live among the plants. That's just what they do. And
typical wood elf stuff.
And they motion to the growing things. As you can see, I'm This takes all my time, and frequently there are things that I cannot do. I have several small errands that you could run for me to bring in some fertilizer and some materials for brewing some of my potions. I have several of them. I'll be willing to pay you 10 gold for each of them that you run.
I'll gladly do that.
Fala proceeds to take out a paper which is rather soggy, and when they write on the paper, the ink kind of runs a little bit, so it kind of smears because the humidity inside the building has saturated the paper. But they manage to write it clearly enough that you are able to read that they need ingredients for potions that you would need to get at some kind of medical supply store. They need a good fertilizer that you would have to go out to a farm to obtain. They need some soil that would probably be obtained out, similar types of things, and various lists. Altogether, there are like 5 different things that you can run hither and yon to get. How many of them will you pick up?
He'll go for all of them.
Very good. So they write it down very carefully onto the paper and hand you the list and the various locations that you will need to go for these. So that's the ones that you will be getting, and when you have them all together, you'll have another 50. We'll work on that next week.
Cool. And before we can end this, Cashin also wants to check on the Grey Hands post.
You mean as if they have anything for you to do?
Yeah, go to what's his face?
Salim or something.
Salid,
yeah. Yeah, it's too soon to go back. When you go in, they greet you, thank you for what you've done, and say no, they don't have any jobs at this time for you.
Well, while he's still there, he informs them about the Saloon incident and the continued work on the Troll Skull Manor.
Oh, it's good to hear the Troll Skull is coming along. Saloon, I heard something about that. There was a drow that was arrested for those murders down there. Bad business, that. It sounds too much like it's connected to Jarlaxle's end of the business. Yeah, that could be bad business.
Yep, a few days from now we'll have the trial, and I'll testify.
Excellent. Watch your back. Have a habit of, witnesses have a habit of kind of disappearing for some of the trials related to that organization.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. So he offers you a cup of tea if you want to stay around and talk for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. You did good work for us on going out to talk to Hyam. Next time you come around, I might just possibly take you to someone else. We'll see what comes up from various things. There's some higher ups I might want you to speak with.
Hope it's not the Black Staff.
Oh, in time. She has a hand in it, but not for now. We'll see what happens. He sips his tea. That saloon business, bad stuff. How they could possibly, I don't know what, I can't understand it. They're all elves, aren't they? What was the problem?
Drow hate other elves.
That seems very odd to me, but I guess you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see what happens with the trial. I hope he gets his just desserts for what he did. Provided, of course, he's guilty. I guess I shouldn't shouldn't jump to conclusions, but it seems to me from everything that went down and what we've heard, he was pretty much caught red-handed, aye?
Yep. I got the scars to prove it.
Well, make sure you've got your complaint in on it. Get him for that, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'll be seeing you in a few days. Get that Troll Skull Manor opened. I'll be around to share a drink with you, and we'll toast to Saloon's incarceration or punishment.
That we will. And he finishes tea and walks off.
Okay. Anyone else got any final matters to tie up?
Well, as soon as he does get back to the Troll Skull and the others arrive, Nokri to be specific, he gives her the list to read over, telling her that the top 3 should be investors she should look into.
Very good. Yeah, those would be more high-ranking sort of investors. We could get things for Nokri. So you might want to copy and send that over to her on chat so that she has that list of those 3 and knows what she's working with. Obviously, one of them was Mert, and the second one was, I've forgotten the name.
I would be with Nokri at this time and just say, well, you could probably cross Mert off. This is what he's the one that just gave us 100 gold for.
Ah, thank you. I'm a little bit leery on taking in too many investors. Money to pay back that means that we won't make any profit at all.
It's true. I'll pay them rather quickly. It's about a week, I believe, before they start getting antsy.
All the more reason why I don't especially like having to do it. I'd rather earn up the coin if we can ourselves, but in a pinch, we'll find another way to make profit.
I'm just worried this Emic person will take issue with us opening.
Well, if things go well with the meetings later, Emic may not want to cross this line. It's a good thing that my name is on the paper.
We should be careful about men who feel crossed.
Well, I personally didn't cross them, so that's on him, not me.
He may not care if you crossed him or not. You're the one that owns this establishment now.
And we'll be
unless he wants to cause international problems between us and between my homeland and Waterdeep. That is on his head, really.
Which is then unfortunate because he may not just go after you, he may go after your subordinates, which would be us. I kind of like having my head.
Again, we'll cross one bridge at a time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see who wants to play the bigger political game.
Very well.
We'll have to get here first.
And that might be something to write on your list of know thy enemy, to go maybe meet with him and see what kind of individual you've got that doesn't like you. Okay, so we have some quests for Fala. We have a single quest for Rashal the Page Turner, which is what he's nicknamed as. He's got a last name, but he goes by Rashal the Page Turner. And several things that we can do for next week. And you will be getting closer to your opening, and there will be... That's one last thing that I have. Who is at the Troll Skull?
I would be.
Epiphany is.
I think it's everyone but Rillian. Rillian at the... Or did he come back?
He'd probably wander back in after getting the job, look to see if anyone wants to go with him.
Got any friends with you?
No.
very overheated, like he's been running back and forth for a long time. Person that's on the margin between being a boy and being a young man rushes in, blows the door open and comes rushing in and turns and looks at Epiphany and Relian, and the two of you recognize him. He was from the office.
Oh, yes, we do.
And he just looks at you, looks at the others. He's too busy to worry about exactly what's going on. And he just blurts out very suddenly that it's, let's see, got to get the right date here. He just blurts out 30th of Elent and rushes out.
Excellent. And when is that in relation to today?
2 days from now, the day before opening day and the last day of the month.
That's a nice boy, that is.
Care to explain?
That little tyke there, he works around the legal offices, and he heard an interesting rumor that passed its way down to us. Apparently, they're trying to, well, the Magisters, they're trying to move up the date of the trial of the Mr. Saloon, Mr. Stabby Stabby Shooty Shooty Drow Elf, and they are not sending out notices to any of the witnesses or anybody of that ilk.
That is very strange.
Curious.
Would Cashin be aware of such things happening before?
Yes. Yeah, you don't even have to have a role in Waterdeep. You bribe the right people, things happen.
Well, it looks like someone doesn't want Saloon to go to prison.
Exactly what we were thinking. What we were also thinking is what would be a good laugh, because even though they're not sending out notices to witnesses, it's still an open trial. What would be a great laugh is if the five of us just happened to be there, just by chance.
Well, I think that'd just be a good joke regardless.
I think it would be hilarious.
We do not see the humor.
Imagine very surprised faces when they see us in the room when they didn't expect us.
An ambush.
If we
in that sense.
Well,
Almost exactly like that, with that's killing.
Well, if we want to make sure we're there, we should keep watch, because if things are as they are, I'm certain whoever wants him to be free will try to make sure we can't talk.
But it'll be broad daylight, hopefully, and not only will it be, witnesses who saw these atrocities and potential attacks, but he goes over and claps a hand on Cashin's shoulder. It would be actually one of his half-elven victims. I mean, what could be better than that?
Well, first we have to be certain that he doesn't send anyone after us to slit our throats.
Why are you such a downer?
It just sounds like you're... Honestly, it just sounds like you're trying to entice me with a challenge.
No, I'm just saying, you know who this person works for, yes?
Not really. Do you think, do I look like the type of person to care?
Jarlaxle Bainry.
Would I recognize this name?
Yes, anybody who has spent any time in Waterdeep longer than, say, 2 months would know that he is the seemingly untouchable drow crime lord. He's a lord. He has wealth coming out of his ears. Everyone knows it comes from black market and underhanded sources, and no one seems to be able to lay a hand on him. Because somehow or other, he's never quite connected to it. It's always another individual, or it doesn't fit his description, or he wasn't in the area at the time when it happened. Basically, think a mafia godfather.
Oh, good. A challenge.
It sounds more like to me that the person who's on trial will be dead before we are.
Well, as I seem to understand, he is important enough that that Jarlaxo wants him free.
All right, we will leave it there with the suspense of maybe somebody trying to stab you in the back. And we will see where this goes. It sounds like next week might be just a little bit more than just plain quests. You are very close to having the funds to open. It looks like you will make your date. And once you have your opening day, we will be doing our profit loss roll, which will have very good ads because you are getting some renown, you are getting some people that are putting out the word, and you have paid money for advertising. So that will give you good pluses, helps on your roll. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, sorry that we had all the technical problems for those of you, and we had to be down on video tonight. Hopefully everything will be back in place next week. I don't know if our guest will be able to be here because he had all kinds of problems. We'll see what we can do to get him up and going, because he is part of the issue that needs solving down there with the Genasis. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, thanks for tuning in to Crone's Crucible. Thank you for watching the videos, and this video should be up on Tuesday morning. Hopefully we'll have it up then. Thank you very much, and come around next week. There's nothing interrupting this next week, so we will have Mir on Saturday nights.
Woo! Woohoo!
Anybody have anything to add before we say good night?
I will be out for 2 weeks.
End of the month,
Over
right?
Thanksgiving at the end of the month. Yep.
Sleep with one eye open.
Everybody sleep with one eye open.
Well, personally,
Well, I look at it this way. Technically, Cass and Nokri have the biggest targets on their back.
You two are not allowed out of my sight now.
Yeah, you can finally heal me.
Exactly.
anyway.
I recommend you guys getting bunk beds into my room.
Yeah, that's
You mean the library?
The library,
Yeah,
exactly.
they're all going to sleep in the library. He'll put some blankets on each of the empty shelves. Okay, so what's Relion's goodbye things for the night?
Wisdom.
Bye, everybody. Remember, never, ever, under any circumstances, take a sleeping pill and a laxative on the same night.
Oh,
That's actually good advice.
yeah,
Yeah, that is actually legit advice.
excellent advice. Oh my God. Okay, with that, we will definitely say good night all. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Goodbye!